Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and thanks for being here. If you're new, hit that like button, subscribe, and we got to talk about this topic because I've talked about scenarios looking similar to this, but from Leafs updates on Twitter, shout out to them. Bertuzzi has a no movement clause, so it's up to him, but I wonder about a Bert for Kuzmenko trade with Vancouver. They want to trade Kuzmenko and could use Tyler Bertuzzi for their run. One of our problems is finishing, and Kuzmenko can improve that. Both have same cap hit, but Kuzmenko has signed an extra year. So Bertuzzi, $5.5 million, no movement clause. He would have to waive Kuzmenko, $5.5 this year and next. Leafs update says, I don't want to move Bertuzzi and want to keep him past the season, but if he thinks otherwise, then you have to gain some value back. That could be the vibe. Let's see. So scenario like this, Bertuzzi for Kuzmenko, basically a 1-for-1. Maybe you get an additional pick from if you're Toronto because you are taking the extra year from Kuzmenko and he hasn't had a great year and he's been benched and all these things. So Vancouver doesn't have a lot of leverage in the situation. So I would think Vancouver maybe has to give up just like a mid-round pick to get this done, especially if Bertuzzi is waiving. So this would be a scenario from Toronto's perspective. You could put Kuzmenko right into the top 6, give him confidence, get him a playmaker like Nylander. Kuzmenko's a net front presence. Maybe it doesn't work with Tavares battling net front presence guys, so maybe Kuzmenko goes back up with Matthews Marner, but I think there's a fit there. This is another trade idea. This one was from a Canucks fan. I mean, if you're giving this to Toronto, I think you have to take it if you're the Leafs. But it sucks. Again, Bertuzzi and Domi were brought in for this new identity. But if you're getting a first, a second, and just taking on Kuzmenko, again, I think Kuzmenko still brings a lot of value. I think he can be a point per game in the right situation or at least close to it, be a 20-goal guy. And Bertuzzi and Domi would be valuable for a Canucks run. And, I mean, look at that. You could put him on a line with Mikheyev. Like, look at that. You got some shit disturbing on that third line. So I think that's a possibility, and your fourth line gets a lot better all of a sudden, even though it's still decent. But I did ask, so big shout out to Canuck Clay. I always join his live streams when I can. I asked some Canucks fans in the chat if they'd do Kuzmenko for Bertuzzi, and a few of them said yes, I'd take Bertuzzi for Kuzmenko. And there was a lot of Kuzmenko trade rumors around. Like, would they trade Kuzmenko for a Tarasenko? Would they trade Kuzmenko for a Bertuzzi? So Canucks fans are willing to do this, it seems like. That they're willing to trade one of those guys, or get one of those guys for Kuzmenko. So a Tarasenko to add offense, or Bertuzzi to add that kind of style into it. So going back to the original thought from Leafs updates, give me your thoughts, guys, in the comments. Do you think Kuzmenko, Bertuzzi could be a trade scenario, or do you think it's another scenario for a trade with Vancouver? I mean, the Leafs are just, they've been a mess, inconsistent, just all over the place with Sheldon Keefe. So I wonder. Elliot Friedman made a good point. I'm not going to pull it up here, but definitely go look at it, is that he talked about how maybe the Leafs are looking 1 year from now, 2 years from now, and not so much this year. That's sad for a core that has Austin Matthews, who's on pace for 70 goals right now, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, John Tavares. You're going to tell me that you're not focusing on this year to win now? If that's the conversation behind the scenes, then you should be pursuing a trade like this. I don't think you're getting a first-round pick from Vancouver, but even if it was like Bertuzzi and Domi and you're getting Kuzmenko a second and maybe a young player, I think maybe you consider a trade like that. Because one, it'd get Nick Robertson in the lineup, and I don't know why he's not in the lineup. You're wasting value there. And then two, Kuzmenko gets a change of scenery, and you get a couple draft picks possibly. I don't really want to give up on Bertuzzi and Domi. I think these are the guys you want in the playoffs. I think they're the perfect style of players you want for the playoffs. Domi scored huge goals in the playoffs. He scored a goal in a Game 7. You want that if you're the Leafs. You want a guy that can score in a Game 7. And Bertuzzi just put up a point per game with the Bruins in the first round. Yeah, the Bruins sold the bed, but at the end of the day, you want these kind of guys for playoffs. But right now, that's a worry right now for the Leafs if they're even making the playoffs. So I think if you're the Leafs, if you could make the playoffs, you want to keep those guys, especially if you could try to re-sign them long-term. But then at the same time, can you even re-sign those guys because you're going to have to try to rebuild this defense group? So I think you consider a trade like this if you're getting assets back. I don't know if I love the Kuzmenko for Bertuzzi 1-for-1. But if you throw in a mid-round pick and you know you're going to lose Bertuzzi anyways, then I think you consider a trade like that. So give me your thoughts, guys. Subscribe, like, comment, notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.